Okay, so you're thinking about getting a new TV, and the Hisense 40A4NTUK has caught your eye. That's great. Good choice on doing a little research.
Yeah.
First, we've got your back. We did a deep dive into a review from TechWise Corner.
Okay.
They're a really straight-shooting tech blog, and we wanted to get all the details on this model for you. Is it all it's cracked up to be? Let's find out.
This TV is a bit like a high-performing athlete
Okay.
trying to, make it in a world of giants. It packs a punch for the price, but doesn't necessarily have all the premium features,
Oh, I like that. I like that analogy. So first impressions, what's the design like?
Well, TechWise Corner says it's got a sleek, minimalist vibe, slim bezels that really make the screen pop, and it's both lightweight and compact. So if you're in a smaller space or looking for a secondary TV, this could be a perfect fit.
I'm picturing it in a cozy studio apartment, looking super stylish. And what about wall mounting? Is that an option?
Absolutely. It's VISA compatible, meaning you can easily mount it on the wall with a standard bracket. No need for any fancy setups.
Love the flexibility. Now, let's zoom in on the viewing experience. They mentioned full HD resolution, which is a step up from standard HD, but not quite 4K. What's the impact there?
For everyday viewing, full HD is going to look crisp and clear. Think news, sports, or streaming your favorite shows.
Okay.
And they've also added something called a natural color enhancer.
Okay, color enhancer. Break that down for me.
Imagine giving your TV screen like a vitamin boost. The colors look richer, more true to life. If you're watching a nature documentary, the landscapes are just going to pop right off the screen.
Sounds impressive. Now, the review did mention that. It doesn't have, like, the super deep blacks and contrast that you'd get on the higher-end model, so maybe not the best for movie nights. In a completely dark room.
Yeah, you're right. It might not deliver that cinematic depth. However, for everyday viewing in a well-lit room, it should do the job nicely.
Okay. Now, you mentioned sports earlier.
Yeah.
And TechWise Corner highlighted an AI sports mode. What's the deal with that?
So it's designed to, sharpen up fast-moving action.
Okay.
You know how sometimes during a game, the ball or the players get a bit blurry?
Yeah.
This mode reduces that, so you get a smoother, more enjoyable experience.
So if our listener is a diehard sports fan, this feature might be a game changer.
Exactly. It's like Hisense is saying, hey, we might not have all the fancy bells and whistles, but we've got you covered when it comes to game day.
Now let's talk sound. Audio can really make or break a TV experience. What did the review have to say about the Hisense's sound quality?
Surprisingly good. For a budget TV,
Okay.
they've included DTS Virtual.X and Dolby audio technologies, which create a wider, more immersive sound experience.
So not quite a home theater, but better than those tinny speakers you sometimes get on budget TVs.
Exactly. And here's a bonus. If you do decide to upgrade your audio down the line, the TV has both an optical audio output and HDMI ARC for connecting a soundbar or external speakers.
Nice. Options are always good. Now let's dive into the brains of this TV, the smart features. It runs on something called the VIDAA OS.
Think of it as the TV's operating system, like Windows on a computer.
Okay.
VIDAA is Hisense's own platform, and they've focused on making it super intuitive and easy to navigate. No one wants to spend time battling a complicated interface.
And what about streaming apps? Can you access all the usual suspects?
You've got all the big players pre-installed: Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, Amazon Prime Video, the whole gang's here. They've also included Freeview Play for viewers in the UK.
So content shouldn't be a problem. Now, I know sometimes budget TVs skip on connectivity. What's the situation here?
You're covered on all the basics. 2 HDMI ports, 2 USB ports, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, and even optical audio and headphone outputs.
All right, so you've got options. What about gaming performance? If someone wanted to hook up a console, would this TV hold up?
For casual gaming, it's going to be perfectly fine. However, the review points out that it doesn't have the high refresh rates or super low input lag that hardcore gamers crave. So if you're into competitive gaming or the latest graphics-intensive games, you might want to look elsewhere.
Good to know. It's all about setting realistic expectations. Now, one last question before we move on. What about energy efficiency?
It has an Energy Class F rating, which isn't the most efficient. It's worth noting if you're eco-conscious, but it's also fairly typical for TVs in this price range.
Okay, so we've covered design, display, audio, smart features, and even a bit about gaming and energy use. That's a lot to digest. Where do we go from here?
Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something that often gets overlooked, the remote control.
Oh, remote, yeah.
It might seem like a small detail, but a good remote can really make or break your TV experience.
You're so right. I've definitely battled my fair share of clunky, confusing remotes. What did TechWise Corner have to say about this one?
Unfortunately, they didn't go into much detail, but here's what we should be thinking about.
Okay.
Does it have dedicated buttons for popular streaming services like Netflix or Prime Video?
Yeah. Is it ergonomic and comfortable to hold? Can you easily navigate the buttons in a dimly lit room? Those are all excellent points. I'd also want to know if it's a universal remote, so I could control other devices, like my soundbar or cable box. It would be a bummer to juggle multiple remotes.
Absolutely. And while we're thinking about ease of use, let's talk about the initial setup process.
Okay. No one wants to spend hours deciphering complicated instructions. I know I'm guilty of just tossing the manual aside and hoping for the best.
Right. So what does a smooth setup look like for this Hisense TV?
Ideally, it should be plug and play.
Yeah. Clear, easy to follow instructions, intuitive menus, maybe even a guided setup wizard that walks you through the process step by step.
A setup wizard would be a lifesaver, especially for folks who aren't super tech savvy. Speaking of tech stuff, what about software updates? Are those a hassle on this model?
That's a great question. We want a TV that's going to, stay up to date and secure without us having to jump through hoops.
Right. Ideally, it would handle updates automatically in the background.
Exactly. So you don't even have to think about it.
It's like having a little tech assistant, quietly working behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly.
Exactly. Now, while we're thinking long term, let's talk about something else that's important. Build quality.
Okay, how well is this TV actually put together? Right, because a sleek design doesn't mean much if it falls apart after a year.
Right. Did TechWise Corner mention anything about the materials or construction?
They focus mainly on features and performance, so durability wasn't a key part of their review.
It might be worth checking out some user reviews to see what real owners have to say.
That's a great idea. Sometimes those real-world insights can reveal things that a professional review might miss.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about real-world experiences, customer support is another factor to consider.
Okay, what happens if you run into a problem with a TV? Down the line, does Hisense have a reputation for being responsive and helpful? Because dealing with unhelpful customer service can be a nightmare.
It's definitely worth doing some research on that before making a purchase. Check out online reviews, ratings, and forums to see what other customers have to say about their experiences.
It's like an insurance policy, right? You want to know that if something goes wrong, you'll be taken care of.
Precisely. And speaking of insurance, let's touch on warranty coverage.
Okay. How long is the warranty on this Hisense TV, and what exactly does it cover? A good warranty can really provide peace of mind. It means you're protected if there are any defects or malfunctions, at least for a certain period.
Exactly. It's worth checking. If Hisense offers any extended warranty options, too.
Well, sometimes those can be a worthwhile investment, especially for a device you'll be using every day.
Now let's move on to something a bit more fun.
Okay, customization?
Customization, okay. The review mentioned a minimalist design, but can you actually personalize this TV in any way? That's a great question. Some TVs let you, tweak the settings, change the background image, or even create separate profiles for different family members.
It's like making the TV an extension of your personality, or at least your viewing preferences.
Exactly. Unfortunately, the TechWise Corner review didn't delve into customization options. We might have to, dig a little deeper into the user mail or online forums to find out more.
On that note, what about accessibility features? This is something that's often overlooked, but incredibly important for many viewers.
You're absolutely right. Does this Hisense TV offer options for closed captions, audio descriptions, voice control, high contrast modes, or other features that make it accessible to people with disabilities?
Those are all essential features for a truly inclusive viewing experience.
Absolutely. We should encourage manufacturers to prioritize accessibility and make sure everyone can enjoy their products. Again, the best place to get this information might be the user manual or Hisense's website.
All right, so we've talked about the remote, setup, software updates, durability, customer support, warranty coverage, and even customization and accessibility. That's a lot to consider. What's next on our deep dive agenda? So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the Hisense 40A4NTUK, from screen size and resolution to smart features and even the all-important remote control. But now for the question That's probably at the top of your mind.
The price tag.
Exactly. The review mentioned it's a budget TV, but what does that actually mean in terms of dollars and cents?
Well, that's where you want to do a little comparison shopping.
Okay.
Check out different retailers, both online and brick-and-mortar stores, to see what the going rate is for the specific model, and don't forget to factor in things like sale tax and potential shipping costs.
Great point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget about those added expenses.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, compare prices with similar TVs from other brands. See what else is out there in the same size and feature range.
You might be surprised by what you find. Sometimes a different brand offers a slightly better feature set for a similar price. Or maybe you discover that the Hisense is a steal compared to the competition.
It's all about finding that sweet spot, the best balance of features, performance, and price for your individual needs. So let's put it all together. You've read the TechWise Corner review, you've listened to our deep dive, and you've done your own price comparisons. What are the key takeaways to consider before making your decision?
First and foremost, remember this TV is geared towards everyday viewing.
Okay.
If you're mainly watching news, sports, or streaming shows casually, this TV's strengths will shine. The full HD resolution will provide a clear picture, and the smart features are designed to be user-friendly.
Right. And while the audio's decent, it's probably not going to blow you away if you're a serious audiophile.
Right. You'll likely want to invest in a soundbar or external speakers.
And remember those viewing angles. If you're planning on having like a big movie night with friends, spread out on the couch, colors might look a bit washed out for those not sitting directly in front of the screen.
So maybe not the ideal choice for a large family with a wide-ranging viewing setup.
But for a smaller space.
Yeah.
Or individual viewing, it could be perfect.
Exactly. It all comes down to aligning your expectations with the TV's strengths.
So final thought, the big question our listeners should be asking themselves as they weigh this decision.
Think about your priorities. Do you need the absolute best picture quality, the latest gaming features, and a room-filling audio experience? Or are you looking for a solid, dependable TV that delivers good performance for everyday use without breaking the bank?
It's about finding the right TV for your lifestyle, your viewing habits, and your budget. And we hope this deep dive has helped you get a little closer to finding that perfect match.
Happy viewing.